My wife and I have been married for 6 years, and she is 28, and I am 29. We delayed having kids because she wanted to focus on a career as a nurse. After graduating college, she went and got her nursing degree. She landed a spot at the hospital working 12-hour shifts about 3 to 4 days a week. Meanwhile, I was slowly taking over my dad's lawn business. My wife was a hustler. When she wasn't working at the hospital, she had a little side hustle of running errands for people. She advertised on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and she did pretty well at it. Between her nursing job and her side hustle, she was making about $80,000 per year after about the second year. But soon after, she had a burning desire to get out of nursing to run her errand business full-time. It was really taking off. Well, one week she had some vacation time from the hospital, and she made the decision to do her side hustle for a week straight. That turned out to be a crazy experiment. She made more money that week than she made last month working at the hospital. So as time goes by, everything is going well. Bills are being paid with no issues. We get along. We travel a little bit more. About our third year being married, I started to notice a slight shift in her behavior towards me. She started to talk down to me a little. I didn't understand it, but I came to realize that maybe she was just stressed from her job at the hospital and her business. I didn't put too much thought into it, but one day, she had an outburst. Don't know what set her off, but I cussed her ass out and told her to stop talking to me like that. We were at odds with each other for a few days after. I really couldn't understand her behavior. I wasn't the type of man to stay mad at my wife if we got into an argument or some type of disagreement, but my wife was the opposite. Her communication skills with me, her husband was in the toilet, but everyone else was amazing. And this was the start of our dead bedroom. For the first 3 years, our sex life was on point. I initiated, she was ready, and vice versa. But now, I can't even get her to give me a kiss goodnight. Something we have always done. Well, one night, I made plans to take her out to dinner. I sent a text about 3 hours before she was supposed to end her shift at the hospital, but she didn't respond. I called, and it went to voicemail. About 3 hours later, she responded, and her response was, "I am still working." That was it. "No, I will text you later, or I will call you later." Nothing. At this point, I was at my wit's end. I didn't know where to turn, so I called a good friend of mine and told him what was happening. He said it sounded like she may be stressed a little or maybe even distracted. I asked him what he meant by distracted. He said women don't all of a sudden just out of the blue stop interacting with their partner. Something is going on with her. Something or someone may have her stressed or distracted. So, after that conversation, I really tried to talk to her. But it just seemed she didn't have the desire to talk to me no matter what I tried. Well, things came to a head when she was supposed to get off work at around 8 p.m. I reached out to her via text and I called her, but she didn't respond. At about 2:47 in the morning, she comes strolling in, drunk off her ass. I let her have it. Then I went back to bed. She slept in the other room, reeking of alcohol. The next morning, she comes strolling into our bedroom, apologizing, starts messing with me, and I give in, and we were intimate. I thought to myself, it was about time, but I still had this weird feeling in my gut that something was going on with her. Strangely enough, this behavior of hers continued for about a month. Then it shifted again, and I was done. After that, I started paying closer attention to her, and the most surprising thing is that her phone usage didn't increase more than it already had. I mean, she was talking to people from Facebook and Craigslist mostly, but I didn't see her on her phone late into the night. Whenever she put her phone on the nightstand, she usually didn't pick it back up until the next day. Fast forward a few days, and she pulled the coming in late crap again. She was drunk, but I kept my cool this time. And then she tried to initiate sex. I turned her away. I went to work the next day and did some research on how I can track her movements. So I came up with the idea of using a GPS tracker so I can see what she is up to when she leaves work. Well, a few weeks after installing the GPS tracker, I found out what she was doing. She would leave work and then travel to a commercial building. It looked as if they had many offices, and my wife had office space in this building. I thought, what the hell does she need office space for? Why is she keeping this from me? Anyway, she was cheating on me. That's why she was keeping it from me. Let me tell you how. In the back of the building, there was a door and one window to each one of the offices. I saw a man go in her office from the back 4 different times. One time he came out of the office and they kissed. On that particular night, I was dressed in black, wearing a hoodie. I got close enough to see there was a camera and a computer and I had a hard time seeing. Lo and behold, I squinted hard enough and could see she was doing OnlyFans. I was shocked. Never would have guessed she would do OnlyFans. She was putting her clothes back on, and when she moved away to the side, I took photos of her computer screen, but I wasn't going to say anything to her. Over the next few nights, I stick out the office again. This time, I made sure to get pictures and video of this guy walking into the back of her office and kissing her upon leaving. Well, I went to work one day after sticking out her secret office. I showed my dad what I uncovered and told him I was filing for divorce, and I asked him not to say anything to anyone. My dad gave me 100% support and told me to do what was best for me, and I told him right then and there that divorce was the only option for me. Filing for divorce was probably the most emotionally charged thing I have ever done in my life, but it had to be done. Over a few weeks, I'd opened up a few bank accounts and started moving out of the house we were renting without telling my wife anything. At this point, I stopped following her. I didn't need to. I had what I needed. I went to see an attorney and told him to file for divorce on the grounds of infidelity. I gave him the pictures I had of my wife kissing this guy at the back of her office. It's been a month since I uncovered her infidelity and her doing OnlyFans. I still haven't said anything. I kept on acting like a husband who still loved his wife, but I never slipped up and had sex with her. If I did, the courts could take that as forgiving her. I wasn't going to do that. I contacted the attorney and asked him if there was any way I and the process server could plan where I could meet him at the same time he was serving my wife the divorce papers. He indicated that it was possible. So, I began keeping tabs on my phone daily to make sure I could meet the process server at the same time he is serving my wife. Well, about 3 weeks later, that day came. The process server sent me a text to let me know he was headed to the address I gave the attorney. It was after 9 p.m., and that's what time she usually got to her so-called secret office. The commercial area was well lit. When he knocked on the door, my soon-to-be ex-wife came out. She took the envelope. When she did, she looked up, and then I waved at her and blew her a kiss. The process server walked away, and my wife was just standing there in shock. I got in my car and left. She was still standing there. That night I went back to the house and got the rest of my things. Man, she blew my phone up. I never returned any of her calls or text messages. It hurts so bad, but I have to try not to think about it. My dad and my friends are on my support, and yes, I told them everything, and they were in shock as well. On the day of the divorce hearing, my wife just sat there in tears. By this time, I'd grown a little indifferent towards her. I didn't care anymore. I just wanted this to be over. She didn't try for anything. She made enough money to support herself. The judge grants her the divorce on the basis of infidelity, and that was that. On my way out of the courtroom, my ex-wife was crying so uncontrollably that the bailiff asked her if she was okay. We ended up walking out of the courtroom damn near neck and neck. Then out of nowhere, she hugged me. She was still crying. I had to hold back my tears because I loved this woman, and she broke my heart. I hugged her back, and then told her to take care of herself and walked away. I was living with my dad temporarily until I could afford a place on my own. I ended up going to therapy for a few months, and that helped. Our lawn business is booming. We picked up a few new contracts, and I am still healing from the divorce. It's been 2 months, and my ex-wife sends me a text every single day, and in 2 months, I have not responded to either one of them. I would imagine I would need to change my number at some point. My ex-wife came by my dad's shop one day and dropped off a card. I wasn't there, but she asked my dad if he wouldn't mind giving it to me. I haven't opened it. It's still lying on my desk. My advice to anyone who is going through this is to get some good support from friends and family. They help me a ton. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. Please like and subscribe to get notified when a new video is released. Take care.